After reading most of the 30K and the Horus Heresy, I wasn't a fan. Space Wolves just didn't have the draw for me in a lot of the Horus Heresy. And after reading the Omnibus, I kind of think it was mostly Russ's fault. He was just a little bit too dour for the rest of his sons. And it kind of reflects in the way things have changed over 10,000 years. Yes, there's still a lot of the same aesthetic and feel that you get in the Horus Heresy, but they're far more human and they're far more caring. They're not just the grim executioners of 30K, which I really enjoyed. And honestly, had I read this before the Horus Heresy, I'd probably be a much bigger Space Wolves fan. And Prospero would have been a little bit more jarring because the two just don't coincide very well. There's a stark difference between what Space Wolves did on Prospero and what you see with Ragnar Blackmane and his entire process of becoming a Space Wolf and all of those little nuances that you see in the Omnibus. And for me, this was fascinating. It was amazing to see the entire life cycle of a Space Marine go from before he was inducted to him becoming a major part of the story. And it was a lot of fun. As I was reading this, I couldn't help but want to build a lore accurate list based on it, especially since it gives you literally everything you need to make that list. So instead of all of the talking and book review, if you can't tell, I absolutely love the Space Wolves Omnibus, and I would absolutely recommend it to anyone who's curious about Space Wolves. Or if you have the same opinion I do and you don't like them from 30K. This is a good way to really highlight the differences between the two and get a good feel for who the Space Wolves are, what they're like in the 41st millennium, and what they'd be like on the tabletop. It's one of the few armies that really kind of operates in the books similarly to how they operate on the tabletop. Yeah, you have the Zhuzh and the main character syndrome that you get in an ebook, but it's a really, really good one-to-one aspect in a lot of ways. Since I can't review a lot of the actual plot of the Space Wolves Omnibus for risk of spoiling a lot of the story, which I do not want to do, we're going to dive into the actual list and talk about it there.